start this. Planning Commission meeting, April 22nd, 2021. I've started my recording and...
Yep, our recording has started as well on the Teams platform.
And I've just admitted one person with a telephone number, and I don't know who that is. So I would ask that whoever just came in with the telephone number of 802-793-0107, if you could identify yourself.
Yeah, it's Maureen O'Day.
Maureen O'Day?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Darren, can you put up the preamble? I grabbed the wrong document for the thing. So briefly, before we get rolling, just to share this with folks, I, Dustin Brusso, as chair of the Essex Planning Commission, find that due to the state of emergency declared by Governor Scott as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and pursuant to Addendum 6 to Executive Order 01-20 and Act 92, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. The full script is available from staff at the town offices or is available online. As we go through the meeting this evening, I would like, if you're not speaking, to please mute your phones, mute your connections. When we get to the point of public participation, please use the hand raising option in Teams to let us know that you want to speak. If you don't have that option, try to use the chat window, and we'll go from there. We have an agenda this evening. It has some amendments to it, and I had some challenges. Are there only 2 rescheduled items, folks? Perfect. So to be noted on the amendments to the agenda is the single consent agenda item has been removed and will be rescheduled at a later date. And item 5 was a site plan public hearing for the state of Vermont that has also been rescheduled to a later date. So before we get going, I'd like to ask anyone who is going to be providing commentary this evening to please take an oath, and I would ask that you swear that any testimony you present this evening will be truthful to the best of your abilities. Verbal acknowledgement would be good.
I do.
Thank you. First item on our agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone in the public to provide commentary to the select board about items that are not on the agenda.
To the Planning Commission.
Planning Commission. Who did I say?
Select board.
Oh, man.
Trying to give yourself a promotion?
No.
Oh, hell no.
So do we have anyone that wants to offer comment to the Planning Commission? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is a site plan and master plan amendment public hearing for Eurowest Retail Partners. This is a proposal to extend a green space to accommodate an outdoor stage located at 21 Essex Way. Darren, will you be presenting for staff?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Dusty. And looks like Maureen O'Day is coming in. Just want to give her a sec to get caught up. And let me get caught up with the plans here. Okay. So this is the Essex Experience, formerly known as the Essex Outlets and Cinema. And I'm showing the overall plan here. So Vermont 289 is along this bottom of the plans here. Route 15 Center Road is along the top left, and Essex Way runs top to bottom here on the plan. So we're talking about the central green. The proposal is to expand the green even further. There was a proposal a couple years ago to do this, and it created a central gathering space within the Essex Experience and allowed for some great events to happen over the last couple of years in spite of COVID. So applicants are hoping to add a little more of that green space, or this is existing today. So we're going to zoom in a little bit here to show just a few more parking spaces, 17 total being removed to expand the green further. And a new stage will be added to the east side of the green. This will be a repurposed historic barn that will be relocated to the site. Staff have no issues with the proposal. We do want to note that there are several parking spaces that were planned behind Building 2, so where Black Flannel and Purple Sage and a few other businesses are today. These were never constructed as parking spaces. There's still space there. It's essentially loading areas for the building. We don't feel that there need to be those parking spaces there at this point, so we're fine letting that be an as-needed construction based on demand. We also want to note that with the new Barbarossa approval for Building 1, there was planned to be on-street parking along the future Commonwealth Avenue, but that has been removed with that plan, so that's no longer part of the master plan. Otherwise, fairly straightforward, and no objections here.
Thanks, Darren. Commissioners, any questions for staff at this point?
No, sir.
Hearing,
But one point that we didn't identify commissioners participating for the record.
oh, thank you, David.
You're welcome, sir.
So let's do a roll call before we go any further.
David Raphael, present.
John Mangan, present.
Tom Furland, present.
Joshua Knox, present.
Ned Daly, here.
And Dustin Brousseau, present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, that business taken care of. Apologies for the interruption. Who will be presenting for the application on this?
Okay, yes, that is me, Sean Cunningham from O'Leary Burke. We have read the staff notes and the conditions, and we are good with them as written.
Wow. Okay, that's good. Any commissioners, any questions for the applicant? Then I would take a motion to open the public hearing.
I move we open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Moved by Josh, seconded by John. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Public hearing for this is open. Again, please use the hand raising feature within Teams if you can. Seeing none. Anything in the chat? Again, I'm just practicing my patience. Okay, hearing none and seeing none, I would take a motion to close the public hearing.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved by Josh, seconded by Tom again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Public hearing is closed. Commissioners, if I'm not hearing any questions whatsoever, an applicant is not arguing with staff on any point, which is unheard of. Who wants to make the motion on this one? John?
One observation before we go to motion.
Yep.
I mean, fully in support, no issues whatsoever. I just noticed that there's really no conditions or much chatter about the stage/barn, and maybe that's because it's really not a building. It's more of a kind of a repurposed structure, but I assume there's no issues with like state permits, fire safety, anything like that, because it's just an outdoor structure. Is that right, Darren?
That is our understanding, and I'm going to try and pull up pictures to show you really what it is. It's barely a structure at this point. Having trouble finding those.
Yeah, I saw it in the packet, the pictures of the barn before it was taken down and going to be re-raised. But yeah, I mean, and again, no issues. I just noticed there was not a lot of conditions treating that like a building. So
I would say that we keep that templated condition of any and all state permits that may be required of this approval shall be secured, or however it reads.
Yep.
Something very close to that. That should be added, I would say.
I believe that's in there. If not, we can add that. Yep, condition 6, prior to the zoning permit being issued, applicant shall obtain all applicable state and federal approvals and permits and submit copies to community development.
Perfect.
So this is just for folks who are interested. This is and Peter, I don't know how things have progressed at this point, but that's sort of what we're looking at, right?
That's correct, and I'll just give a little bit of color to it. It will be a 3-sided open stage, with one side will be closed. We are having engineering done, outside consulting engineering, to make sure the load factors for the sound and light equipment are adequate, or more than adequate, and safe. And we are going through an Act 250 noise study. That was really the only requirement that they have requested. So that has commenced. It'll, all of our approvals from the state will be based on the results of that study and what Act 250 has to say.
I've got no issues. I think the juxtaposition of barn at this age against the outlet buildings is going to be really, really cool. So, yep, I'm good.
Thanks, David. So,
Yeah,
commissioners,
I appreciate that. I should say, I really think, one of the overriding issues I've had with the center is the distance in between building to building, and needing something to really tie this location together and give a central gathering point. And I think this is a great historic, and we will be featuring the history of the barn, which is pretty interesting to Vermont, as part of the presentation.
thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Commissioners, any additional questions, thoughts, or discussion points? Hearing none, is anyone prepared to make a motion at this point?
I will. I'll move that we approve the consent agenda for site plan and master plan amendment for Eurowest Retail Partners, LTD on 21 Essex Way, as written and with the conditions as defined by staff.
I'll second with the removal of the word consent agenda. It's just a site plan master plan amendment. So we're good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, moved by John, seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We're good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Onward. Next item on our agenda is a sketch plan public hearing for Ron and Alice Siegriest. The proposal to divide 2 existing lots into 5 new lots located at 226 and 236 River Road. Darren, who is presenting for staff? Is it you?
Yes, it is. Thanks, Dusty. All right, let me get the plans up. So I apologize because I'm probably going to say something wrong. So in terms of all the details of these lots that are being subdivided. So there are 2 lots off River Road, close to Paul Maz's farm stand, near Greenfield, between Greenfield Road and Sand Hill Road. They are 226 and 236 are the parcel, or the addresses of the parcels. Within those, there are 5 separate residential dwellings, 5 separate residential buildings, addressed 184, 226, 228, and 232 River Road, with a total of 8 dwelling units between them. So there are 3 single-family homes, 2 duplexes, and 1 triplex. Most of this is on municipal water and sewer. The number 232 River Road, which is down here near the river, is on a well, and number 228 shares that well with 232. Everything else is on sewer. The proposal is to re-subdivide these lots into 5 separate lots, so going from 2 to 5 lots. Each building, each structure would have its own lot, and they would all be sized appropriately to what is currently within those buildings. So the duplex would have enough for 2 units, enough density, and the triplex would have enough for 3. So the remaining lands would be 29 acres approximately, encompassing most of the farm field, as well as the dwelling at number 232 and some of the access. This is a minor subdivision, so we are doing a sketch plan review tonight, and then if approved, this will come back as a final plan. The only change in terms of actual construction is let me get to the right view here. Lot 3, I believe, Lot 4 currently is on a shared well, that will be changed to municipal water. There's an existing curb stop on River Road that they will connect to, and that will give it the density or the appropriate density requirements, meet the appropriate density requirements. They are also providing a shared use path easement along River Road for the entire length of both properties. There are a couple corrections I'd like to point out in the staff report. On the first table after line 12, and let me get to that so we can all see. Lot 1 was listed as being on-site septic and municipal water. It's the other way around, on-site well and municipal sewer. We run to the next change. There is a typo in line 92. The Scenic Resource Protection Overlay District and is subject to the requirements of ZR Section 2.20 should be are subject to the requirements, referring to all the parcels. And there's another change to a table after line 115 in the district dimensional requirements. Again, lot 1 is on off-site sewer, on-site well. And the last change is on line 152 in the Public Works memorandum regarding access. There was a missing word. To clarify, there will be no need for new curb cuts onto the state right-of-way because all of the existing, all the subdivided lots will utilize existing access drives. And I just want to run through and make sure there is the applicant's proposed connecting to the water line across the street, across River Road with a jack and bore, so going under the road. But because there's an existing curb stop, they don't need to do that. So we just want that to be changed on the plans. And that actually should say final review, not preliminary review. Otherwise, this is relatively straightforward, provided we catch all the details, and staff's in full support of the application.
Thanks, Darren. Commissioners, do you have any questions at this point for staff? Hearing none. Who will be presenting for the applicant on this? Darren, anybody?
That would be me, David Tudhope.
Okay, David, you have the floor. Any concerns or questions about the staff presentation?
No, I think that was just fine. I think Darren did a great job on that.
All right, thank you. Darren, good job.
Thanks, and thanks to David for doing a very good job in the presenting the application. It was actually very well documented.
Thank you.
Great. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Tudhope? Hearing none, I would take a motion to open the public hearing.
I move we open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Moved by Josh, seconded by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Public hearing is open. Does anyone have any commentary they would wish to add to this application? Hearing none. Seeing none. Yeah.
I'm David Tudhope, and one thing that I was curious about was the requirement of concrete monuments versus rebars, what we normally put in for property corners.
Darren? Where are we looking at that from?
So would that be condition 8?
Okay.
Is that correct, David?
I think so. It was an 8.
Yeah. The intention there is simply to follow whatever standards are in our subdivision regulations. So if concrete monuments are required for, I think generally it's used for marking roadways and property lines, then we would need that. But otherwise, rebar I think is appropriate. But we can check with our Public Works and whatever surveying standards there are. So we're not specifically concerned about how it's done as long as it's done with in accordance with surveying standards.
Okay. So you let me know if it's going to be all right to place the rebars at the corners.
Yep, we'll double check on that.
All right, thank you.
And we'll fix that with the final approval too. This is just sketch, so we've got some time to work out those details.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Darren.
Any other questions or comments? Christine Farnham.
Yes, hi, guys, Dusty. Brent Farnham, 222 River Road. That proposal, it looks good, but for, being a homeowner here, until we got something in the mail, we didn't even realize what the layout was going to be for the lot. I wish we'd had a conversation with Mr. Siegriest to at least be able to look at the proposal. It looks like lot 5 is what comes into play for my area. Just asking, where would the house be located in lot 5? Is that possible, Darren, to get that viewpoint again?
Absolutely, and I'm actually going to zoom back out to the overall plan so we can see your lot. So here you are.
222.
Yep, right here on the Brent and Christine Farnham. So the lot will extend behind your house, but the actual structure is where it is today. They're not proposing any new houses or new construction except connecting to the water line. So number 226 River Road is going to be where it is today. That's the triplex, I believe.
Okay.
And the only reason that extends behind your house is for them to be able to have the acreage to meet density requirements.
Right. No, again, this was the first view that we got to see of it. So I appreciate that, Darren. Again, thank you for the clarification and on that.
No problem.
Thank you for chiming in. And again, this is still sketch, so if you have further questions, it's got to come back to us one more time. So you still have an opportunity to, have a discussion with either staff or Mr. Siegriest. Let's see. Do I see John Alden present?
You do.
I don't see.
I'm just a guest today, I guess.
Well, if I'd seen you there, you would have been pulled into service.
Yeah, I know. I was a little late. I had a couple of things tied me up.
He got here relatively soon, not too long ago.
Okay. Have you been on board for this entire application, John Alden?
I joined during the presentation of the staff report.
Okay. So I would like to indicate that John is an alternate. And with Mr. Schumacher not present, I'd like to recognize John and allow him to be a voting member for this application. Is that acceptable to the rest of the commission?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, John, you're on tap. Okay. So at this point, I believe the public hearing is still open. Do we have anyone and any additional comments or questions from folks? I would take a motion to close the public hearing.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved by Josh, seconded by Ned. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion. Any questions or commentary for staff or applicant?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
So 10,000-foot view, I completely support the application. There are several references in the staff report to the Bianchi ruling, which most of you know is a Supreme Court ruling. That Bianchi ruling deals with marketability of title. I am struggling with this application with the duplex and the triplex, so I would only be in favor of supporting this with some either conditions for state review, fire safety, other review at the state level for these multifamily properties, and or further town review. I'm not comfortable moving this app forward without town approvals in place for those two dwellings that appear to never have been approved by the town.
Okay. So, Darren, go ahead.
Thanks for pointing that out, Dave. And I do want to clarify that condition 5 does require that the single unit dwelling that's currently permitted at 228 River Road actually get a zoning permit to become a duplex, because we don't have any records of that having been done properly. So that would be prior to the recording of the Mylar, which is the only real stage where this becomes official after the PC approval. So we believe that would remedy the situation. And otherwise, all the other lots appear to be in conformance with zoning.
I mean, but not the I mean, there were several references to the duplex and the triplex in the findings.
So, yeah, are you suggesting that the triplex get zoning board approval?
Well, so I'm concerned at 2 levels. I mean, they're there, they're functioning, but there's 2 triggers. There's, does the town allow it? But then whenever you get to a multi-family dwelling, it triggers state regulations that go in place, especially Division of Fire Safety. So I want to feel comfortable that these now standalone lots that could be conveyed meet the Vermont Division of Fire Safety requirements, especially since they're dwelling units.
Yep, understood.
And David, are you concerned with the reference to the Bianchi case because it's not a correct application of the precedent?
Yeah, that's part of it, Tom. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I love to play one. But the Bianchi ruling is a Supreme Court ruling that deals with marketability of titles. So you can't, after a certain statute of limitations, 15 years, my understanding is you can't put a cloud on title due to the inability to obtain municipal permits or approvals. That has nothing to do with the town during a subdivision process putting requirements onto the subdivision that deal with violations. All Bianchi says is, look, you can't cloud the title and stop the transfer of title because of a violation that happened that's 15 years or more. Now, again, I'll defer to the town attorneys for this, but my point of all this from a 10,000 foot view is you can't just cite Bianchi and say, well, if they didn't get all their town stuff, there's nothing we can do about it now. That's not true. In this subdivision process, we have the ability to bring those parcels into compliance with our town regulations. And if we've determined that prior approvals were not obtained and that these are not legal triplexes and duplexes, we can put conditions on those to bring those into compliance now.
Okay, and so we shouldn't even cite the Bianchi case.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue from my real estate background that yes, Bianchi doesn't come into play here because I don't care what they do. They're not selling it. They're coming before us for a subdivision approval. Therefore, we have the ability to say Bianchi doesn't matter here. If these aren't legally what they're supposed to be, we can put whatever conditions we want on them to make them legal.
Right, and it shouldn't even be mentioned in the staff report because that kind of expands the scope of Bianchi, implicitly.
Potentially, you're right.
Sharon, did you have something? Did you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that, we probably may seek a legal opinion, but it might be because of Bianchi that we can do this administratively. I know that the state fire marshal has been in some of these units, but not specifically the whole building at the same time. So I think if we, work behind the scenes in between sketch and final and prior to final, we can probably close that loop fairly quickly. I don't think a fix is very difficult.
So I have to thanks, Sharon. I have to play my old and slow and stupid card. I'm reading lines 105, 103, 4, 5, 6, so forth, and I see that it calls out the lack of the duplex, which is referenced in step 5, but I don't understand why, and I guess I just don't understand the Bianchi law and how to interpret it. But why are we not also calling out the triplex in this in the similar way that we're calling out the duplex? Help me understand that. Darren or David or somebody.
David.
David Tuphope, go ahead.
Yes. Do you want to speak to him, Ron? Or Alice?
Yes.
This is Alice Siegriest, and she's going to respond to the 2 units.
I'm actually on the 3 units right now. So I'm trying to find out why in the staff report we reference, and this is me being ignorant. Why are we referencing that there was no conditional use for the triplex? But then we go down to the stipulations and we talk about bringing the duplex into conformance, but we don't reference the triplex. So maybe this is back to Darren for a minute, since you authored the report, as to where's that gap.
Can I?
Let me stick with staff for a minute. Let me go to Darren, please.
So my understanding, which Dave has now corrected, is that Bianchi law applied to zoning as well. And we can, again, double check on the legal angles here. But my assumption was that there wouldn't be a point in getting a zoning board approval before the subdivision, because it would it's already taken care of in case law. But we'll gladly look into that and make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And I did notice in my review that and maybe Alice and Ron can clarify this, because this was a long time ago and I wasn't here. It looks like the triplex was originally meant to be or contemplated as either a single unit or a duplex, and then maybe was added on afterwards before construction was finished. So that might have been why it maybe didn't trigger us to go to the zoning board, even though maybe it should have at that point. So it seems like maybe hopefully just an oversight, and we'll double check on what may or may not have happened back then and what would be appropriate now.
Okay. So Ms. Siegriest, if you'd like to add comment now, that would be okay.
Right. Well, actually, it's the triplex I want to add comment on. That we had a permit for the first one apartment, and then we put a second apartment in and had a permit for that. And I have the numbers and so forth of the permits and the completion date. And I don't remember at that time that anybody, we were involved in the whole process, and we were not asked to do any other piece of a variance or whatever it might be. So when I saw that, I thought, well, we were involved with the whole process, but for some reason we were not asked to do that.
Okay. It sounds like, Darren, to your point, there's a little bit more homework that could maybe be done on that.
Yes, and like I said, this was a long time ago, and so I had to look at the zoning regulations at the time and where the zoning districts were. So this was only several years after the town instituted zoning. It's quite possible that, again, this was simply an oversight.
Okay.
So Mr. Chair, just so I just don't want to hold this up, but I just want to be clear from a 10,000 foot view. So the way I'm approaching this is I'm looking at a multi-building parcel that potentially doesn't have approvals, but it has a history, and they're asking to subdivide it. So in my mind, that opens the book up for the opportunity to bring the property into compliance, because we're creating 5 distinct parcels. Yep. So the reason Bianchi doesn't necessarily apply is because we're not talking about marketability of title here. What we're talking about is they're asking us for permission to subdivide these parcels into 5 distinct parcels. Therefore, we get a whack at the piñata to say, okay, were these previously approved? Yes or no? What do we need to do to bring these into compliance? It's sort of like looking at something that might not be to town road specs or public works specs. We have the opportunity at the time of subdivision to say, okay, this needs to be brought up to the current town road specs in order to move it forward. So that's all I'm suggesting, is that throw Bianchi out and let's just look at if we've got issues where zoning and the community development records don't match the parcel, this is the time to bring it up to compliance so that when we subdivide it, it meets our current rules.
Okay, I think that sounds good. David, Raphael,
yes, sir.
With understanding this is sketch and with Darren's statement that they would be working to clean that up, and just confirm everything going forward, would you be in agreement of moving sketch to final?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think that's clear that we've got a sticking point there.
Well, can I add one thing?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay, the one thing I want to add is that the buildings are in compliance as far as state, what is it, state inspections? Everything. It's in full compliance, and it has to be because it's an apartment or triplex or duplex. They have to follow these rules, and the rules were followed and they're documented.
Yep. What that should help. And that should make this more of an administrative exercise than any sort of a punitive action.
Yes.
We get things cleaned up so that there are no questions going forward. That's what I'm taking from Commissioner Raphael's point, is that this is the time to clean things up and not leave to go back a few election years, not leave it hanging Chad. Okay. Darren, you have more?
Yes, so I just want to clarify, assuming that, as the applicants state, that the buildings and the lots are in conformance with state standards, and we'll check on that. The only thing I think that we're hung up on, Chad or not, is that the zoning board never issued an approval for a triplex. So that's a conditional use in the R2 zone. And I'm just trying to play out, if the planning commission wanted that cured, that would mean the applicant should go to the zoning board and get conditional use approval for this triplex that's been there for about 50 years. So I just want to clarify that what that would look like as the zoning board sort of rubber stamping that. And is that the intention of the commission? And if not, and if so, I think we might want to do that before final, but I just want to clarify.
Well, isn't that what you propose for the duplex? Have the zoning board rubber stamp it?
That would be administrative because it's a zoning permit, not a conditional use approval.
Oh.
So one of the things that the applicant has said is that they feel that they've got all their approvals and everything in place. So to me, there's an opportunity to review what they have and to see if there's a gap between what the town has on file and what they have on file. And again, that may allow this to be dealt with administratively. If not, then I think to follow up what Commissioner Raphael was saying is that we need to get this, just close the loop. And I think it would be a zoning board. David Raphael, is that one? Are you in agreement on that?
Yeah, it's completely accurate.
Okay. Sharon, did you have?
That sounds good.
Okay. Sharon?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that a lot of possible solutions, but we will get a quick legal opinion and we will act as they tell us to do. And if it's been 50 years and he feels that Bianchi for some reason can be weaved in or whatever, we will go with the legal advice. And we'll get that cleared up before it comes back to you guys for final. And if they do say it needs ZBA, they should go to ZBA first before you guys give final.
I don't think we would be able to approve if the ZBA hasn't been put in place.
Yep.
Any further questions or commentary? Okay, hearing none. Is anyone prepared to offer a motion on the sketch plan? David Raphael, why don't you take a whack at it?
Sure, would be happy to. I'm going to move approval of the sketch plan public hearing of Ron and Alice Siegriest proposal to subdivide the 2 existing lots into 5 new lots located at 226 and 236 River Road in the medium density residential R2 zone, Scenic Resource Overlay and Floodplain Overlay districts, tax maps 33 and 4, parcels 1 and 10. Staff report as written with the changes notated by Darren remaining as written.
David, do you want to remove lines 103 to 110 for now?
Okay.
Maybe they come back at final, but just for now, just take them out.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that's Tom Ferland with a second and a friendly amendment to remove those lines. Friendly amendment accepted.
I like that. Moved by David, seconded by Tom. That worked out very well. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Sketch plan approved. With items still to be worked out before it comes back for final. Thank you. Let's see, we are moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is the minutes from April 8th. Can I get a motion for the minutes for April 8th, please?
I'll move we approve the minutes from April 8th.
Second.
Moved by John Mangan, seconded by Tom. Does anyone want to offer any corrections to the minutes at any part of the document? Hearing none. All those in favor of the minutes as moved signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes carry 7-0. Other business? Do we have any?
I have some. But I'm going to say this, but that can be answered after my other business. John Alden, where you been? Anyhow.
Thanks for the shout out.
Well, we've missed you. Anyhow, just to FYI, there are a couple of PUC applications for the tower, one at 50 Brigham Hill Road to add some more antennas, and one at Corporate Drive. I will get the PDFs and I'll just Xerox the proposal part for you guys so that you can read the specifics of what it is. But they're de minimis. Both applications were de minimis through the PUC. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Aaron.
Yes, we wanted to let you know that there is a fair housing workshop being hosted by the Department of Housing and Community Development next Wednesday, April 28th. We will forward the information to you.
Thank you. I don't think it's fair to let Awisa get out of the meeting without having to say something.
Well, Darren took my announcement.
Sorry, Awisa, I didn't see your hand up, so I was making sure it got said.
No, thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question of staff?
Certainly.
Awisa, are there any opportunities with, I heard the governor talking about the funding that's coming in from the STIM PAC that will address, in particular, affordable housing initiatives. Does Essex have any opportunities to either get some of those grants or funds or participate in that?
It will depend on whether they are directed towards designated downtowns or village centers or designated village centers. But yeah, there's supposed to be a couple of pots of money being made available in the next few months, probably for affordable housing. Some of it is for rewriting, will be carrots offered by the federal government for increasing densities and otherwise looking at zoning to provide for affordable housing and overcoming obstacles in zoning to create affordable housing.
Okay.
That was so eloquent of me.
No, that's great. I mean, I would just love to see if there's an opportunity for Essex to get some units as part of this and take advantage of some of those funds and either work with the tech center or whatever we got to do to do that. That would be super exciting.
Yep.
Great to know that you're on board, and if something comes up, we will definitely tap you for participation in whatever the process is.
Cool.
Have we started to? Is the potential roadmap for our work map started to gel out yet?
It's starting. We've met and we're going through some items, and Darren is doing some data collection to facilitate the process because we really need to have some data on the table to understand what we may or may not be proposing.
Okay, can we try to consider with within like one of the meetings next month to at least have a discussion about what we might be able to do and when we can do it and so forth, even if we're not talking absolute specifics. But I'd like to start maybe having the second meeting of each month, if we can reserve 15 minutes on the agenda or having an agenda item to talk about regulation updates.
Sure. What I think Darren and Sharon would both attest to is that there's a lot of unraveling that needs to happen with some of the zoning changes, because they're not, everything is so interconnected.
Yep.
That we sort of we've gone to the root of the ordinance, which is the use table and looking at the zoning districts. And within the zoning districts, Darren is collecting information on the parcels that are contained in each. And we're going to start doing some analysis to start understanding.
So what I'm proposing is not to change the way that you're doing that. What I'm proposing is that every month we have a period of time that the commission and you have a direct interaction on what's in play, what we can do, what we might want to focus on, other than, it make sure that we stay on the same page, because it would be, I think, a disadvantage to all of us if you guys go down a path that either we don't want to go down or are aware that we have to go down, and we become disconnected in this process. So does the commission feel that that's an appropriate step at this point, is to start putting a regular line item on our agenda? I guess it's just me then.
No, I like that idea, and maybe a given week there's not a whole lot to say, but I like calling it out at maybe every fourth Thursday. Like, where are we on this? And if there's nothing as of yet, there's nothing as of yet. But I like that idea.
Ditto.
Okay. So.
And I think that's how we've done it in the past. So I think we'll just, giving you a little update, and if it opens up to a bigger conversation, so be it. But I think that's easy to accommodate for you.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make this be onerous or unnecessarily detailed at this point, but this is an opportunity for us all to stay on the same page, so that we are working collaboratively and towards a common goal. How's that? I learned that at work.
Yes, but the data really is going to be very important to the whole process.
I understand, and I'm not arguing against that. What I don't want to do is I don't want to wait until everything is collected before we even start talking about any of it. So
no.
my point is, we want to be on board with this, and we're not going to, I don't think it's appropriate to wait, because data collection can be a never-ending process.
Yes,
so that's what I'm aiming for.
But also being able to present things to you in a coherent way in which you can analyze and understand them is going to be the way that I think that we're all going to move forward together.
Mm-hmm. But we also want to be able to present to you. So I'm not bouncing this back and forth. This isn't necessarily a debate.
I'm just telling you that we're not trying to punt on anything. We have been doing work on this,
and we want to hear about it.
It's.
I think it's as simple as that, so we want to hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, we can also have a work session, but a lot of it is there's so much minutia, and there's so much.
So let's not overthink it. Yep. Bear with me. Let's not overthink it. We do have to overthink
it. Like staff have to overthink it, and so that's how we're.
Understood. What I'm trying to get to, and let's leave it quickly with this, but what I'm trying to get to is we want a regular update to be provided to the commission.
Yeah,
it can be a one sentence, it can be 2 paragraphs, it can be see you next time, but let's just make it be a regular item, so I have it set as an expectation. Okay, sorry. Anything else? If not, somebody quickly make a motion.
I move we adjourn.
This is a night of Josh motions.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. See you.